So we have here Dr. Indra Uno, with Board of Director of Innotech Foundation, but he wears many hats. I would say he is one of the earliest people promoting entrepreneurship in Indonesia, and we're going to hear a few insights from him, which will help the youth here to think about how they can be a participant in this whole movement to create entrepreneurship in Indonesia and ASEAN. So welcome, Dr. Indra.
Thank you, Pak Sachin.
And I think I have known for a long time how many different things you've been doing to create the ecosystem around entrepreneurship. But I have a specific question, because you did this in a time when it was reaching the common man. But today you have digital transformation, and that opens a new opportunity. What has been your experience using digital transformation to further the same cause?
Wow, that's a good question, because all of a sudden, if I came from the background of technical background, so sometimes I explain things using like a chart. So digital transformation for this kind of movement, entrepreneurship movement, is like an exponential graph. So if I continue without digital, it will be a linear growth. But using a digital transformation, all of a sudden I am seeing like increase in numbers. For example, we've been working for a little bit over 20 years on this space, and the impact or the people that have participated in the tens of thousands. But in a very short period of time, it becomes hundreds of thousands and even like 1+ million. That's all achievable using the digital platforms and digital transformation tools.
So you're able to get scale. In that way, increases the cover that you have for people to get opportunities to learn about entrepreneurship.
True, and I give you another example. In 2019, I went literally physically, like face to face, to 1,000+ events in 250 days, which means like I average like about 4 events, and 4 events not in just one location. I went from Aceh to Papua, and I always say to the people that I met, I said, I'm coming back and I want to see how you are doing. So pandemic comes, I was left with very little room to fulfill the promises. So in 2020 early, came up with Instagram Live, which is like a digital social media platform. And I was able to invite them, visit them virtually, and then have an audience at the same time. And been doing that now is almost 500 episodes. So 500 times 2 average entrepreneurs. So I've talked to like about 1,000 entrepreneurs that through the digital platform, and I think it reduces lots of resources that is needed to be able to do 1,000 interviews using digital platforms.
So, your experience in this, you have over 20 years focused on so many different sectors. Do you believe there are some sectors that are going to come, which are probably not yet being approached, which will be a new area for entrepreneurs to consider, let's say in the next 5 years? Are there any new sectors which people today may not be paying attention to?
I always say the digital technology is also a sector as well as an enabler, which helps a lot of entrepreneurs to be able to push or even maintain their business. But I see more and more people by the digital transformation are sucked into or pulled into being an entrepreneur themselves. For example, the example of Airbnb, Gojek, Grab, all of a sudden they have 300,000 partners, entrepreneur partners that owns the vehicle, but they use the platform of Gojek So project is expanding the entrepreneurial breadth of the transportation industry to a lot of people that they never thought of having. And that model, the business model, can work with education, having a universities without a building, having universities or school system or education institution without employing the trainers, the mentors, which which was unheard of before that. So things like that are coming up, and people coming up with solutions because they want like a reduced resources when they do things. On top of my head, I can see that, for example, having a platform to support all the warungs, the small vendors, and at the same time providing them, we call it tempo, or you don't have to pay right now. You can pay later.
Pay data. Okay.
Yeah, pay later, which helps them a lot in terms of managing their finances and managing their stocks for their individual street vendors or the warungs, what we call. And that is something that is slowly getting traction, and people are looking at that as a new kind of business that, the youth or the young, they don't need to start with big ideas, big dreams. They always can start with very small, and nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah. You made a very good point. In the old days, they would have all been employees. Today, they are partners or entrepreneurs.
Right.
That's a fantastic change in the way you look at entrepreneurship.
Right.
So that's a good point. The learnings that you have done in Indonesia, and today you interacted with people from 11 countries, or 10 more countries. Do you see the issues are the same across ASEAN, or do you think that there is a different kind of an approach needed if ASEAN were to work together as one region?
Okay. Maybe because we are at this more or less the same stage of nation development in nation, and more or less our income per capita is close to each other. The big challenges would be creating and integrating the policy. I give you an example. In Jakarta, the OKOC movement, the job creation movement, started as a volunteering in across communities. In less than 1 year, we were able to involve about 40,000 people. And then the government stepped in. We worked with the government, and they issued a policy integrating all the training, mentoring, development of the micro entrepreneurs. And they were able to use their budget also and integrate the budgets. Before, they were like, in every division they have a different approach to micro entrepreneurs. But once the policy is there, they can pull it together, and they can appoint like financial institutions such as Bank DKI, Jakarta Bank, and the numbers from 40,000 all of a sudden in 5 years becomes 300,000. And out of the 300,000, we're able to have access to financial or to capital from Bank DKI with no collateral, with no assets. They just show them their certificate of attendance of OKOC, and in Jakarta they rename it into Jobpreneur. And the involvement of a policy, were able to do the growth exponentially again. exponentially. When you introduce the digital, it becomes exponential. You introduce the right policies, integrate all the effort, it becomes exponential also. So the challenges in ASEAN are having a, an approach that is under the umbrella of a united policy.
A united policy. And do you think it is possible to put together like a united policy with the framework of ASEAN, maybe the ASEAN summit?
Very good question. And I've seen in the past successes in that. For example, we are no longer seeing like physical borders as border of trades,
Yeah.
like between Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. We are borderless now, and whatever we purchase in Indonesia but manufacture in Thailand don't bear the burden of the tax that
Tax.
were there before.
Yeah.
And seeing that, I think it's possible.
So there is a framework available that we
Right.
can build on.
Right.
Okay. So any particular initiatives you're doing right now which people can join? Would you like to talk about any one program that you're championing right now?
The one in Innotech, the incubator, the one in Indra Uno Foundation, and they are both for niche, but the one that is broader, I call it OKOC. The OKOC, you can register in okoce.net, right? Just go to the website or just look up my Instagram at Indra Uno. You get the address there, and also you can DM me there to join the social movement on job creation. And by saying that, that we are contributing, we're helping the government of Indonesia, and maybe, and right now, as we speak, we're also in collaboration, early days with Malaysia also. They want to bring this way of thinking, this way of approach into Malaysia, and sooner than later, we probably have something of an ASEAN initiative that jobs or joblessness is a common issue in ASEAN, and we can tackle this together with approach that is not copyrighted but right to copy.
So OKOC is the starting point. It's a very good point. So we'll conclude with a personal message from you to a person who wants to be an aspiring entrepreneur. What words of encouragement or inspiration would you have for a person who's maybe in the age group of 18 to 30?
The one thing that I always say, your first and foremost asset in starting your own a business is your network. Your network is your net worth. So if you don't have the network, what can you do? You borrow somebody else's network. You join a community. And when you do that, that network becomes part of your network. Simplest way of looking at it, in every single phone, in your phone, you have a contact list. Say, for example, you merge your contact list with your friend, you have 100 contact lists. Your friend has 100 contact lists. That becomes your network also. And your network, coming back to that, will be your network. And that is your first and foremost asset or capital when you want to start your own business.
Fantastic. And with these words of wisdom, I would summarize that, if you look at what Indra has done, what has Innotech done, and the various initiatives, they are responsible for a lot of successful entrepreneurs. So this is something that you can really join and be a part of, and we take the whole country forward as well as take ASEAN as a region forward. Thank you so much, Pa Indra. And it's a
thank you.
pleasure, and we really appreciate you being here at the ASEAN Youth Dialogue.
Thank you for inviting and having me.
Yes.